Hi friends, welcome back, or if you're new, hi, how are ya? We're gonna ignore the background today. I understand that there's a lot going on, but I have been self-taping this week, so that's why it's still up. And if you know anything about pop-up backgrounds, you know that it is really annoying to get back into the little container that it came with. So with that being said, we're gonna deal with it. Just the life of an actor. But speaking of acting, we are gonna be tier ranking all of the 2025 Oscar nominated films, which is kind of crazy. It is that time of year where the Oscars and award seasons in general is happening. I believe the Oscars is what wraps everything up. There might be other awards here and there, but most of the major ones are wrapping up, and the Oscars are this Sunday, so I wanted to get this out to you guys. I wanted to get this out earlier, to be quite honest with you, but there's a lot of movies and a lot of them are long. I am looking straight at you, Brutalist, because why are you 3.5 hours long? But it is what it is. I officially watched the last movie today. I watched Nosferatu today, so we are officially caught up. We can tier rank everything and just go from there. And I will also get into some predictions that I have for all of the categories of the Oscars. So we're gonna go through all of the different categories of this tier list and go from there. So first off is didn't watch, which is self-explanatory. I did not watch it, and those are for the two that I was not able to watch. There's also not for me, which is I can respect this movie and what they were doing, and I'm sure other people would enjoy it, but personally for me, I just did not enjoy it for whatever reason. There's also Sure, which is like, sure, that's a solid movie. There are definitely aspects of it that I don't necessarily like, but I can definitely acknowledge that it's a solid movie and it should definitely be celebrated for certain aspects of the movie. There's also Pretty Damn Good, which sounds pretty self-explanatory, but it's pretty damn good. It's not a perfect movie, but it's pretty damn good. And it may be close to being a perfect movie, but it's still a solid movie. It's really good with the storytelling. I would definitely recommend it to other people. And then the last category, which is kind of the equivalent to the S tier, is just wow. This category is gonna be reserved for the movies that just really made me feel things and just really took my breath away when watching it, and there's just something about it that just was such a mesmerizing, life-changing sort of experience. Those are the 5 categories, and we're just gonna go from there. So the first one is Black Box Diaries, and that is a part of the Best Documentary features. This one is about a journalist that has gone through sexual assault, and it's just her journey going from that whole experience and going through the Japanese justice system and just the verdict of that, but also at the end you see that it's still an ongoing process. This documentary was well made in my opinion, and it was very informative. Like, I did not realize how crazy the Japanese legal system was for this kind of stuff. I mean, honestly, I feel like maybe a lot of government systems probably have a range of something similar to this, so it's definitely a flawed system that does need to be fixed, but it just shows how frustrating the system is and just how frustrating it is to go through as someone who's lived through that experience and has survived that experience. With that being said, I would say pretty damn good, because it's a pretty damn good documentary. The way that it was edited too was pretty interesting as well. Like, there's a lot of audio files that intercut and everything like that. So the way that she told the story of her own story was pretty interesting, and just the story itself is very compelling. You can feel the frustration as you're watching it, you know? And I feel like with any movie, if you feel any sort of emotion, it's a pretty damn good movie. Next up is also another documentary, which is Soundtrack to a Coup de Coupe. Oh my god, Soundtrack to a Coup de Tete. I don't know how to say that. I'm so sorry. I'm not good with French. That is basically a documentary about Congo and how involved the US jazz scene was with Congo in the 60s and their government and overtaking that government. I had no idea about any of this stuff about Congo going into it. Not even just that, I didn't know how involved people like Louis Armstrong were in this either. I also didn't know how involved the UN and the US were either. So This whole documentary was very eye-opening. It was kind of crazy, but the way they edited this documentary was so satisfying. And there was someone on Letterboxd that said that this is me listening to jazz in a wiki rabbit hole, and that's exactly how it felt, but in the best way possible. I don't know, like maybe that's just how I retain information, but this documentary was very well made. Maybe this is just me as someone that hasn't really watched a lot of documentaries, but I just have never seen a documentary that well thought out, and I really enjoyed it. The viewing experience of it and just watching it, I would say it's pretty damn good. Like, it's pretty damn good. I would say it could potentially go in just wow, maybe later down the line when I think about it more. But at this current moment in time, it's pretty damn good. So this is where things get a little bit more interesting. There is Better Man, which is the Robbie Williams biopic, and that was in the category for best visual effects. If there's one thing you need to know about me, is there's something about a movie about talking monkeys that just really doesn't jive with me at all. I don't know, like none of the Planet of the Apes, none of that sort of stuff. I just don't like it. It's a personal thing for me. If King Kong started talking, I don't think I would like it. I genuinely don't think so. And even King Kong itself, it's not even one of my favorite franchises. Given the circumstances of the monkey situation and my qualms about it, I think this movie is a lot better than I thought it would be. If I'm being completely transparent, I thought I wouldn't enjoy this movie at all, but it wasn't bad. And there were definitely moments, like heartfelt moments in there. But was it my favorite movie? No, it certainly wasn't my favorite movie in that category either. So I'm gonna put that in short, because it's not like it was a bad movie, and I completely acknowledge the good aspects of it. Songs were good. The soundtrack of it was very good and placed in the spots that made sense and was laid out very well. But there are also certain aspects of it, like story-wise, that if they had done things a little bit differently, it could have been a little bit more compelling. But overall, not bad at all. So now we have The Wild Robot, which is nominated for the Best Animated Feature category. And when it first came out, a lot of people I knew were crying in the club. So I was a little bit scared to watch this movie, I'm not gonna lie. And I did tear up a little bit, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. I feel like if I watched this by myself, because I did not watch this by myself, then yes, I think I would have been sobbing at a certain point in the movie. If you know, you know. The movie overall was really good. Storytelling was pretty solid. The animation was pretty good. All around solid movie. It definitely felt like a children's movie. You know what I mean? Not hating on children's movie at all. I feel like a lot of my favorite movies are also children's movies from like when I grew up, and then as I grew up, it still aged well. And I feel like The Wild Robot is still a good movie. It's not like if you're an adult and you go in, you're not going to enjoy it. But I think there are certain aspects of it that feel very rooted in a children's story, which makes sense because this is an adaptation of a children's book. So totally makes sense. But as someone that is older watching it without children, I can only enjoy it so much. So with that being said, I'm gonna put it in the top of sure, because I think it's good, it's solid, but I think for it to go into pretty damn good, it would have to be one of those movies that I think about a lot. And honestly, since I have watched this, I haven't really thought about it all that much. So for that reason, it's gonna stay in short. All right. There's The Apprentice, which is the biopic of Donald Trump. And I am gonna put this right behind The Wild Robot. Listen. Do I like the subject matter of this biopic? Not particularly, but I do have to commend the actors because they did a phenomenal job acting in this biopic. Like, Sebastian Stan in this movie was great. Jeremy Strong, great. His performance as Roy Cohn was phenomenal. And even just like the cinematography of it all and the storytelling of it all, it is great. But I just felt like a no connection to the material of it because of who this biopic is about. You know what I mean? I feel like there's only so much that I could connect to it and want to sympathize, because I don't sympathize at all. So for that reason, like, it was fine for what it is, but I totally respect the craftsmanship that has gone into this movie, if that makes sense. And then I forgot to say, it's nominated for Best Actor for Sebastian Stan's performance, as well as Best Supporting Actor for Jeremy Strong's performance. So it makes total sense why it's nominated for those things. Now we have Gladiator 2, which I saw when it first came out. To be quite honest with you guys, I watched Gladiator 1 when I was like a child. like a literal child. So I don't remember it all that much. Like I remember bits and pieces of it, like the iconic moments, but I just didn't rewatch it for Gladiator 2, so I just don't know how much it connects. But Gladiator 2, love to see it. I mean, it's not my favorite movie of all time, but it was good for what it was. And I just really like the action sequences of it. The Coliseum scenes always are so fun to watch, so I really appreciated that. And of course, Paul Mescal, he's such a great actor. I mean, the cast itself is a pretty star-studded cast, and they are really good in the movie. I mean, I think for me, my favorite performance in general was Denzel Washington, because something about his performance was so grounded, but also so big in not like a overpowering way, but his presence was so felt throughout all of the movie in a way that felt like a driving force of the movie. And for that reason, I mean, I would honestly, I'm gonna put it right above Wild Robot. Okay, next up is A Different Man, which was nominated for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. And this is the movie also with Sebastian Stan. And I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I mean, something about Sebastian Stan and the way he plays people are just so good, and just seeing his descent from insecurity to madness was kind of wild, but in the best way possible. He does it in a way that feels very genuine and real, and he does that with a lot of his characters. Like, he grounds a lot of his characters very, very well. That was really good. Storytelling was really good, and just like something about the movie felt a little camp too, and I just really like a movie that is like humorous and campy, but also a little bit of thriller. Something about that mix is really good to me. So I really enjoyed it, and just the acting was very, very good. Cinematography was good. I don't know, there's so many things good about it. I really enjoyed this movie a lot, and for that reason, I'm gonna put it in pretty damn good. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna put it right behind Black Box Diaries. Next movie is the Wallace and Gromit movie. This is nominated for Best Animated Feature, and I really thought I wouldn't like this movie. I don't really like Wallace and Gromit movies, not gonna lie. No hate, no shade to the franchise, but I don't know, something about the claymation style I just really don't like that much. Not that I hate it, but it's just not my favorite. So watching this, I was like kind of dragging my feet to it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it when I eat dinner, and like it is what it is. But I actually really enjoyed it a lot. I think it was a pretty solid movie. That penguin as the villain was great, and for that reason, I'm gonna put it behind pretty damn good. I think this is a part of a series, so you would think that you would have to watch the rest of the series, but you don't. Like, I feel like you could watch it without watching any of the other Wallace and Gromit series and know exactly what's going on, and it's good. And I think adults will enjoy it. There's like a lot of funny lines and very witty lines and references that I think adults would appreciate if you're watching this with your child. So next up, we have The Substance, which is nominated for a lot of different things. So it's nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress for Demi Moore's performance, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Makeup and Hairstyling, which is kind of crazy and so well deserved, honestly. So this movie I was very scared to watch because I'm a big time scaredy cat, and I just don't do really well with horror, let alone body horror. And by the way, if you want to see the full length reaction of that, I do have that available right now on my Patreon, and it will eventually be edited and put on my channel. I don't know when yet, to be honest, but it's on Patreon if you guys are interested. But anyways, I only bring that up because you could see how much I was like being squeamish about it. But even despite me being like completely squeamish and just not grossed out, but just, you know, like it was a lot of body horror. It was. I'm not gonna understate that if you guys are looking to watch it. But even despite that, I really enjoyed this movie. This movie, just something about it was just so good. And other people might not like it as much as I do, but the cinematography was very, very, very good. And maybe because I've watched a lot of movies and TV shows, I can pick things up easier. Like maybe it's just me. But I personally felt like some of the foreshadow of it was very clever, but it was also a little bit predictable, which is not an issue for me at all, but it was a nice touch to it with the way that they incorporated some aspects to foreshadow other things in the future. And yeah, I don't know, like this movie just really does a good job keeping you on your toes. Demi Moore does a phenomenal job, like a phenomenal job in this movie. I mean, also Margaret Qualley, phenomenal job as well. Like this movie was really good. Just everything about it was really good, honestly. Storytelling, cinematography, acting, hair and makeup, special effects, like everything was really, really good. Even the editing of it was pretty solid as well. And for that reason, I'm gonna put it straight into just wow. I mean, it's not a movie for everybody. I have to say, like, it's definitely not a movie for everybody, but if you guys are interested in it, I would highly recommend it. I would also highly recommend it to most people as well. All right, next up is The Brutalist, which I actually finished yesterday. I'm gonna put this in sure. And this might be controversial. I know, okay? But I have to say that the cinematography was really good. I'm pretty sure this was all shot on film. Like, instead of digital, it was all on film, which you could tell. And you could tell how intentional a lot of these shots were. And it was very beautiful. And the way that they spliced this movie together was just so good. The soundtrack and score was very good. And also the performances by Adrien Brody and everybody involved, honestly, were very, very good. So with that being said, it's a pretty solid movie. But I have to say, the reason why it's not in pretty damn good or just wow is that there were definitely points in the movie that kind of felt a little shallow in that sense. Like, not saying shallow, like the subject matter wasn't heavy or intense or anything, but I feel like the way that they conveyed certain plot points and character arcs were just a little bit shallow. I feel like some points felt a little heavy-handed. Some points felt like it was unnecessary because it felt like they thought that the audience wouldn't get what they were trying to say if they didn't put certain aspects of it into the movie. Maybe that's just me. It might just be me because I know this movie is well beloved by a lot of people, but it's a pretty solid movie nonetheless. So not knocking on it, not hating on it, but that's just how I personally felt about it. And also these are the categories that it was nominated for, which is Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Adrien Brody's performance, Best Supporting Actress for Felicity Jones' performance, Best Original Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing, Best Production Design, Best Score, or Best Original Score, and that's it. There's a lot of categories that's nominated for. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it won any of the awards, but personally for me, like it just cannot go beyond that point for me. Okay, best up is Wicked, which was nominated for Best Picture, Best Actress for Cynthia Erivo's performance, Best Supporting Actress for Ariana Grande's performance, Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, Best Production Design, Best Original Score, Best Sound, and Best Visual Effect, and also Best Makeup and Hairstyling. So it's nominated for a good amount, and I know a lot of people have mixed opinions about Wicked, but I have to say I really did enjoy Wicked. I really did. And that's coming from someone that didn't watch the musical. So I haven't watched the full musical. Like, I've heard the original soundtrack from start to finish, maybe like a couple times throughout the years. So just know that that's where I'm coming from when I say this opinion. But I really enjoyed this movie. I feel like the acting was very good and phenomenal. The performances were very good in terms of the music that was in there. There are definitely certain aspects of it that I wasn't too big of a fan of. For example, the coloring. A lot of people will argue that it's to feel more grounded, but personally for me, I just feel like could have looked a little bit better if the color was more similar to The Wizard of Oz and the Technicolor aspect of that. And I really don't think that it would have taken away any groundedness that the actors and the story of it all brought with the Technicolor and more vibrancy of the set and the color grade. Honestly, the set was probably pretty vibrant, but the color grading of it all, I think they could have bumped it up a little bit more in terms of the coloring. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. Personally, for me, I didn't feel like the movie was all that long, but I could definitely understand how, especially people who watch the musical, could have problems with it because the entire movie is literally the runtime of the entire production. I think some of the special effects, some of the sound design aspects, I wasn't really a big fan of, but the acting, storytelling, hair, makeup, wardrobe, all of that, I was a really big fan of. For that reason, I'm gonna put it right above a Black Box Diaries. I am. Is that a wild statement? It might be. Don't hate me for it, okay? This is my opinion and this is how I like the movie, but it is what it is. Okay, next movie is I'm Still Here, which is nominated for Best Picture, Best Actress for Fernanda Torres's performance, Best International Feature, and that's it. When I tell you from the bottom of my heart, this movie has genuinely changed my brain chemistry. I'm not even lying when I say that, and I'm not being over dramatic. This movie changed my brain chemistry and how I think about movies, how I want to write movies, how I think about acting, and just everything about it was really good. And this is coming from someone who was kind of dreading watching this movie. Not because I didn't think it was going to be good. I definitely thought that this was going to be good because most of the movies on the Oscar list have a certain caliber of quality. I would say most, not all, but most of them do. So I didn't have any doubt that it wasn't going to be a good movie, but especially since I had such a hard time finding this movie in theaters and on streaming, I just was not looking forward to it. And I did end up having to go to the theaters, like at this art house theaters at my city to watch it, but I don't regret it at all. This experience was so good. I will not shut up about this movie. I will literally recommend it to anybody that will listen to me talk about this movie. It is so, so, so good. And for that reason, I'm gonna put it at the top of just wow. Truly, just wow. Next up is Conclave, which is nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor for Ralph Fiennes, I think that's how you say his last name, but his performance, as well as Best Supporting for Isabella Rossellini's performance, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, Best Production Design, and Best Original Score. So those are all the things that it was nominated for. I do have to give a caveat about this movie and why I'm gonna rank it the way I am. Personally, for me, I just genuinely don't really care about the Catholic Church. I mean, I'm happy for you if you care, but it's kind of like The Monarch. Like, a lot of people are very obsessed with The Monarch and watch shows like The Crown and really love it. Personally, for me, I don't really care. And that's just kind of how I feel about the Catholic Church and things about the Catholic Church, like any sort of movie or TV show. With that being said, I personally didn't really care for this movie. I totally get why it was nominated for all the things that it was nominated for. The acting of it was very good. Cinematography, very good. The set pieces, very good. Editing, very good. Sound score, very good. So you get why I respect it. Like, I respect the filmmaking of it. But because I have no particular interest in the subject matter, it's gonna go straight into sure at the back of, actually, yeah. In the back of sure. All right, now we have A Real Pain, which was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Kieran Culkin's performance, and as well as Best Original Screenplay, which I didn't realize that Jesse Eisenberg wrote this, and that is kind of crazy because he's such a phenomenal actor, and he's also a phenomenal writer, apparently. I genuinely enjoyed this movie a lot. I think it was pretty solid, not too long, and it told a very solid story without it being too much or too little, and it really focuses on the performance of the actors. Because of that and the simplicity of this story and this movie, it's gonna go straight into pretty damn good. I'm gonna put it right behind Wicked. Next, we have A Complete Unknown, which is the Bob Dylan biopic. It is nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Timothée Chalamet's performance, Best Supporting Actor for Edward Norton's performance, Best Supporting Actress for Monica Bardo's performance, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Costume Design, Best Sound, and that's it. I might get some heat for this too, but personally for me, this is going straight into not for me. Okay, I'm so sorry for anybody that enjoyed this movie. I didn't know anything about Bob Dylan going into this movie, and I sure as hell don't know anything about him coming out of it, which is crazy for a biopic. With that being said, I'm not knocking any of the performances because I think the performances were pretty solid. I just didn't really care for this movie. Maybe if I was a Bob Dylan fan, I would have appreciated it more. I don't really listen to his music. I don't know anything about him. I have no emotional ties to the subject matter, and I'm not gonna think about this movie after the fact. If you like this movie, I'm so happy for you. I wish I could have liked this movie, but I didn't. And honestly, it's okay. I don't think every movie is meant for every single person, and I'm okay with that. Next up is Inside Out, which is nominated for Best Animated Feature. And I like this movie, but I think I like the first one more. Not that there's anything wrong with Inside Out 2. It definitely ties a lot to the first one pretty well as a sequel. And I think it touches on a lot of important topics for kids that are watching this, but also adults processing their emotions. Now, with that being said, I kind of wish that there was a little bit more depth to some of the emotions that they're talking about. I think they could have done a lot more with how anxiety is pretty much like attached to a lot of different emotions. And I don't know, like maybe that's just a unique thing to me as someone experiencing anxiety. I don't really think it is, but personally for me, like if I were to make a movie about anxiety, I would probably try to find a way to show that anxiety is not a solo agent in a sense of its emotional output. I feel like anxiety is linked very much to a lot of other things like fear and sadness, maybe even embarrassment. A lot of it is interlocked with one another, and And I think it could have been a little bit more compelling if it had a little bit more emotional depth to that, you know? I mean, overall, it's a solid movie. I don't think it's a bad movie by any means. So with that being said, I'm gonna put it in Shore. I'm gonna put it right behind no, I'm gonna put it right above Wild Robot. Next up is September 5th, which is nominated for Best Original Screenplay. I can respect the acting performances of this movie. I can respect the cinematography of this movie, but I am very frustrated by the messaging of this movie. And I'm also kind of frustrated by the timing of this movie. I think the timing of it all just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So for that reason, I'm gonna put it in not for me. I mean, I'm not gonna knock you if you enjoyed this movie, but it just wasn't for me at all. We have Flow, which is nominated for Best International Feature as well as Best Animated Feature. And I really enjoyed this movie a lot. There was an aspect of the end that was like a little wonky for me, but overall the story was really good. I watched it on my big TV and my cats were going crazy. They loved it. They watched the movie. And I also have a black cat that is not super similar, but kind of similar. So it just emotionally ties me in because of that aspect. So I'm gonna say pretty damn good, especially because this movie, there's like not a single piece of dialogue in it. It's all sound, it's all animation sequences, and it's still a compelling story. And I feel like not a lot of movies in general can pull that off. I think that's a pretty hard feat. And the fact that this movie is able to do that and draw you in while you watch this movie, I think that's pretty incredible and definitely deserves to be pretty damn good. There's also Alien Romulus, which is nominated for Best Visual Effects. Again, I am a big time scaredy cat, so I have not watched any of the Alien movies at all. And I don't think I'm gonna plan on watching any of them unless they're like Alien Romulus. But I just don't really do well with that kind of stuff. But I did really enjoy Alien Romulus a lot, which is very surprising because of that fact. I think that the performances were very good, very solid, and the special effects were pretty good. I have to say, they got me. All that gore, all that acid, and like the space stuff, it was pretty solid. It looked pretty believable. I think they did a phenomenal job. Overall, really, really liked it. For someone that hasn't watched any of the Alien movies, I think it's pretty easy to follow, which is really not that easy to do for a movie franchise that has like so many other movies. So for that reason, I'm gonna put it in pretty damn good. I'm gonna put it right behind, you know what? No, I'm gonna put it right behind the soundtrack documentary. I think it was really good. No, you know what? I'm gonna move it back. That might have been a bit dramatic. I'm gonna put it behind Wicked. Okay, so there's the 688, which is nominated for Best Original Song. Yeah, I'm just gonna move this. I'm just gonna move this right here. I'm happy for anybody that genuinely enjoys this movie. I am. Genuinely I am. But it felt like a Hallmark movie in not a great way. Someone wrote on Letterboxd that I totally agree, where it was like, it felt like every scene was trying to tell a lesson. And I don't like that. It felt like very much they're gonna show this in a school so they can get some educational value. Like it didn't really feel like a compelling story, which is crazy because what this movie is about, it should be a compelling movie with a lot more emotional stakes, but it really didn't feel like a lot of emotional stakes were there. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm really happy for anybody that really likes this movie, but personally for me, it wasn't for me. Okay, now we have Sing Sing, which is nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Original Song, Best Actor for Coleman Domingo's performance. I watched it on the way to Japan and I really enjoyed this movie. Genuinely enjoyed this movie so much. There's so many aspects about this movie that were so good. I really respect Coleman Domingo for not even just his acting performance, but just the production side of it and hiring actual prisoners from Sing Sing, I'm pretty sure, and just having that opportunity for them and just making sure that production was able to do that, I think really helped with the overall story and the film of Sing Sing. The film did a really good job with everything that it wanted to accomplish and more. And the cinematography was very good. Like, it was very good. Like, a lot of it, this movie was very phenomenal. And I think I will think about this movie. Maybe not as frequently as some of the other movies, but I will think about this movie a lot. And I would recommend it to a lot of people. And for that reason, I'm gonna put it right at the top of pretty damn good, because it was pretty damn good. It was a solid, tight script. I don't know how well they adapted it because I haven't read the book that it's adapted from, but the storytelling of it all, it was a very simple yet emotionally driven story. It very much focused on the characters and their story and their character arc, and just everything about it was very good. For me, I don't really need a movie that has a bunch of like special effects or glitz and glam and that kind of stuff. Like, I don't really need all all of that. I just need a movie that is very compelling in the way that it tells a story, and it has to be emotionally charged. Because why else are we telling a story? Like, why else are we making a movie, making a TV show, watching a movie, watching a TV show, if it's not gonna move you in some way? And I think Sing Sing does a really good job of that, and that's why it's so highly rated for me. All right, now we have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is nominated for Best Visual Effects. I've already told you guys, don't really like movies with talking monkeys. I just don't. And for that reason, it's gonna go straight into not for me. Porcelain War, which is nominated for Best Documentary. And this is one of the movies that I was not able to watch. For the life of me, I have not been able to find it anywhere. There's Sugarcane, which is nominated for Best Documentary Feature. And this story is very sad. It's very sad, but very informative. So if you don't know anything about the residential schools in Canada and you wanna learn more, you should definitely watch this documentary. It's very informative, it's very sad. Like, it's very sad what they had to go through. For that reason, I'm gonna put it pretty damn good. Oh my God. No, I just lost everything.
15 minutes later.
Okay, I think I've gotten it back. I've accidentally put Dune 2 there twice now. I don't really know. But anyways, Sugarcane's very good. Okay, now we have Memoir of a Snail, which is nominated for Best Animated Feature. Listen. I'm gonna put this straight at the back of Shore, okay? I totally commend this movie for being as mature themed as it is, because it went through a lot. And honestly, there were a lot of emotional stakes in there that really moved me. But one, I don't really like claymation, so there's that. And also, some of the things that she was going through, some of the things that they were all going through was a lot. Okay, it was a lot, and it just really wasn't for me, but I totally understand. Like, I understand why people would really like this movie. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay, next up we have The Seed of the Sacred Fig, which is nominated for Best International Feature. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I feel like if they took the energy that they had in like the last third of the movie and put it into the first 2/3 and amped it up, I think I would have liked it a lot more. Because the last third just felt like one of those psycho thrillers that just like really gets you on the edge of your seat. And I really like that aspect of it. So with that being said, I'm gonna put it in Shore. I'm gonna put it behind Brutalist, honestly. Okay. We have the Elton John documentary about his last tour, and that was nominated for Best Original Song. And I'm gonna put Shore. Love Elton John's music, but I feel like they could have probably done things a little bit differently in terms of the documentary, but the songs were great. So I totally understand why it was nominated for Best Original Song. Now we have Amelia Perez, which is a movie that is very polarizing and very unpopular. So this movie is nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress for Carla Sofia Gason's performance, Best Supporting Actress for Zoe Saldana's performance, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best International Feature, Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing, Best Original Score, Best Original Song, Best Sound, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, and that's it. I'm gonna put this straight into not for me. I think this movie could have potentially been okay if it hadn't been a musical. I think it would have been maybe a little bit better than what it is now. I did not like any aspect of this movie. And if you like this movie, I'm happy for you. Like I say, for all of them, I'm happy for you if you like this movie. But personally for me, I did not like this movie at all. There's nothing about this movie that I really like. Maybe Zoe's performance, but other than that, no, I did not like any of the songs. I think they made really weird editing choices. Okay, next up is No Other Land, which is nominated for the Best Documentary Feature. This is the other movie that I was not able to watch because I literally could not find it anywhere. Then we have Dune 2, which I really enjoyed Dune 2. And for that reason, I'm gonna put it in pretty damn good. I think I would put it in behind Sing Sing. Yeah, I'm gonna put it behind Sing Sing. Only because, I mean, it just really depends on the day, honestly. But today, I think I like Sing Sing more than Dune 2. Not that it's bad. I mean, obviously it's not bad if I'm putting in pretty damn good. There's just so many aspects of this movie that were very good. The acting was very good. I do have to say though, I think I enjoy the grounded aspect of Sing Sing a little bit more. That's why it's going behind Sing Sing. But cinematography was phenomenal in this. The sound score was very good. Yeah, I'm excited for the third part. I think it'll be very good. It was really long though, very long. And it took me a couple times to get through it because I did have to restart watching it a few times. The first 1/4 was a little slow, but after that, I think it was pretty solid. Dune Part 2 was nominated for Best Picture, Best Cinematography, Best Production Design, Best Sound, Best Visual Effects, and that's it. So very well deserved to be nominated for all of them, to be honest. Okay, now we have Nickel Boys, which is nominated for Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, and that's it. I really enjoyed this movie for what it was. The only thing is that I get motion sick very easily. So the first person point of view was not really it for me, but I respect and love that they did that because I think people need to take more risks with filmmaking. I feel like right now we're just totally relying on a lot of reboots, reruns, retelling of these popular stories, which has its time and place, and I'm not complaining because I'm definitely a sucker for those as well. But I feel like a lot of filmmakers are not making as many risks when it comes to filmmaking and how they tell a story. So I 100% respect what the Nickel Boys did in that direction, and I think it's very unique. I really hope that bumps up like a resurgence of allowing new directors, new filmmakers to emerge and just let them cook because they have ideas and they can make something pop off. And the story itself was very compelling. The acting was very good, but the first person thing kind of like brought me back. So I'm gonna put it in pretty damn good because it is pretty damn good, but I got motion sick, so it is what it is. We're gonna put it right there. Okay, Girl with a Needle. Oh my God, this was nominated for Best International Feature, and I finished this last night. It was a crazy movie. Guys, it was a really crazy movie. Just the way that they went about this was so crazy. And just the way that the actress, she says so much with her face. It's so crazy. There are so many aspects about this movie that was just so crazy. I was really in it and just absorbed in for most, if not all of the movie. So for that reason, it's gonna go straight into wow. Like, I think I will think about this movie for a very long time because what the heck? Like, that movie was very intense. There's also Maria, which was nominated for Best Cinematography, and cinematography-wise, it was very good. Very, very, very good. I think Angelina Jolie does a really good job with the way that she embodies Maria. I think there are certain aspects of it that I wish they had done differently, but I don't really know Maria like that. Like, I don't really know her work like that. So like, who am I to say anything about it? But I think story-wise, I think they could have done things a little bit differently for the flow of it, but I'm not complaining. I think it was a pretty solid movie. And for that reason, I'm gonna put it at the top of, or I'm gonna put it behind, yeah, I'm gonna put it behind The Brutalist. I think what really got me with this is that the cinematography just does a really good job just pulling you in, and just core people like Maria and her driver and her house cook maid person. The three of them, their performances together were phenomenal. It was great. All right, now we have Anora, which is nominated for Best Feature, as well as Best Director, Best Actress for Mikey Madison's performance, Best Supporting Actor for Yura Borisov's, I think that's how you say his name. I'm so sorry if it's not, but his performance, as well as Best Original Screenplay and Best Film Editing. I really enjoyed Anora for what it was. I think it was really fun, very entertaining. I think there are certain aspects of it though that I think they could have done a little bit stronger. The performances were good, but I think the emotional depth in general for the characters, sometimes it felt like we were arm's length from these characters, you know? Sometimes it didn't really feel like we were being drawn in completely. So for that reason, I think I would do Sure. Even though I really enjoyed this movie, I wouldn't say it's pretty damn good, because I think pretty damn good I would reserve for movies. There's something about it that was just wow, but it wasn't like in the wow category. It's not brain chemistry altering, but there was just a lot of different elements that were just really outstanding, and maybe a couple things here and there that kind of pulled it down. And Sure would be like, I respect it and it could be a really good movie, but there are definitely some flaws that I saw in it that kind of pulled it back from being in pretty damn good. I'm gonna put it above Brutalist because I definitely like the movie better than Brutalist, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, there's Nosferatu, which is nominated for Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Cinematography, and Best Costume Design. So I just finished that today, which is kind of crazy. But I finished it today. It was a lot, but I think they could have gone a little weirder. I'm not gonna lie. Gothic movies for me in general are a little hit or miss. I either really like them or I don't really like them that much. Like they're okay. So Nosferatu, I enjoyed for what it was, but it's not like my all-time favorite movie or Gothic movie by any means. But I respect what they did with this movie, and I think they could have gone a little bit weirder. So for that reason, I'm gonna put in Shore. I'm gonna put it right behind the Seed of the Sacred Fig, only because the performances were really good by everybody, and I think the vibes and the costume and designing of all of it was good, but I think there was something a little bit missing from it, and I think it's just they could have gone a little bit further. I think that's what it is. I think they could have pushed it a little bit more. So yeah, I think that's why it's gonna go into Shore for me. And those are all the movies that are Oscar nominated. That's my final tier ranking. If you don't agree, that's totally okay. But don't hate on me for my tier rankings, okay? All right? Just let me know what your tier rankings are. I would love to hear it. And now we're gonna go into predictions on what I think is gonna win for the categories. So for best makeup and hairstyling, there's A Different Man, Amelia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. I personally would love to see A Different Man win for this, but I have a feeling The Substance is gonna win. Yeah, I really think The Substance is gonna win for that. For best visual effects, there's Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. I would love to see Alien Romulus win, but I don't think Alien Romulus is gonna win at all. I think Dune is gonna win. I'm not gonna lie. It's either gonna be Dune or Wicked. I'm pretty sure. And then for best sound, there's A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. I'm pretty sure Dune's gonna win, and I would love to see Dune win, because if we're talking about best sound, it's not even like the score of it all, or even like the songs in it. It's like the actual sounds that are around and the sound design of it all. And I think Dune did a really, really phenomenal job. I mean, across the board with all of the sound, including the score and everything. But I really hope Dune wins for that. There's Never Too Late for the Elton John Never Too Late documentary, El Mal, which is in Amelia Perez, Mi Camino for Amelia Perez, Like a Bird and Sing Sing, and The Journey for the 6888. I would want Like a Bird to win. I could totally see Never Too Late winning for Elton John's documentary. Yeah, I feel like Elton John's gonna win. I don't know why I have a feeling about that. For best original score, there's The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. I would love to see Wicked win, or The Wild Robot, but I have a feeling that The Brutalist is gonna win. Either The Brutalist or Conclave. Best production design has The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. All of these are very good contenders for production design, because the production design in all of them were phenomenal. It was great. Love to see it. But I'm pretty sure Dune is gonna win. I think Dune is gonna win production design. For best film editing, there's Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked. I really hope Amelia Perez does not win this, because the editing was a mess. I did not like that at all. But I hope Anora wins for editing, but I think The Brutalist is gonna win. I'm not gonna lie. I think The Brutalist is gonna win this category. Best costume design is A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. I would love to see Wicked, Gladiator 2, or Nosferatu win, honestly. But I think Wicked is gonna win, because the costume design in that were crazy. So I think Wicked is gonna win, or Gladiator 2, or Nosferatu. Honestly, I think the three of them could win. I wouldn't be surprised though if Conclave won, but I have a feeling Wicked's gonna win. Best cinematography is The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. These are all heavy hitters for cinematography, because the cinematography in all these movies were very, very good. I could totally see The Brutalist winning this, but I would love to see Dune win. Either Dune or Maria. But I think The Brutalist is gonna win. I'm not gonna lie. There's Best Animated Feature, which has Flow, Inside 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, and The Wild Robot. I think The Wild Robot's gonna win. I have a feeling The Wild Robot is gonna win. But honestly, if Wallace and Gromit won, I would be happy. I think Inside Out 2 also has a good potential to win as well. But I would be happy if Wallace and Gromit won, as well as Flow. I would love Flo to win, actually. But I think The Wild Robot. Best documentary feature, which is The Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, soundtrack to A Coupe de Tat, and Sugarcane. I haven't seen Porcelain War or No Other Land, so I can't say for certain, but just based on the three that I've seen, I would love to see soundtrack to A Coupe de Tat win, but I could see Black Box Diaries winning for sure. Best international feature is I'm Still Here, The Girl with the Needle, Amelia Perez, The Secret of the Sacred Fig, and Flo. I think I'm Still Here is gonna win for sure. And I would love to see I'm Still Here win. If I'm Still Here doesn't win, I would want The Girl with the Needle to win. But I'm Still Here, I think is gonna definitely win. Best adapted screenplay, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. I would love to see Nickel Boys or Sing Sing win, and I think Nickel Boys is gonna win. I wouldn't be surprised if Conclave win, but I'm gonna be a little upset if Amelia Perez wins. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be pretty upset. Same with A Complete Unknown. I think I would be upset if A Complete Unknown won. But yeah. Best original screenplay, Anora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, The Substance. This one's hard. This also has a couple heavy hitters. I would love to see The Substance win. I think The Substance has a really good shot, and I think A Real Pain I would love to see as well, but I have a feeling The Brutalist or The Substance is gonna win. I think The Substance is the front leader of it though. Best Supporting Actor, Yura Borisov in Anora, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice. I want Kieran to win. Honestly, I think he did a phenomenal job in A Real Pain. So I would love for him to win, and he has been winning a bunch of other awards for it. So I think he has a high chance of winning, so that's gonna be my bet. But Jeremy Strong did a really good job too. Not to pit the Roy siblings against each other, but yeah, I think Kieran's gonna win. I think so. Best Supporting Actress, Monica Bardo in A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones, The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini, Conclave, and Zoe Saldana and Amelia Perez. I know Zoe has been winning a lot for supporting actress, but I would love to see Ariana Grande win for Wicked. I would also, I mean, I think Felicity Jones has a good shot too, but I have a feeling Zoe's gonna win. I do. Unfortunately, I do think she's gonna win. Best Actor, there's Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. I think Adrian Brody is gonna win, but I would love to see Coleman Domingo win. I think Coleman deserves it so, not that any of them don't deserve it, but Coleman did such a really good job in Sing Sing. Sing Sing was so good, guys. Like, it was so good. But I think Adrian Brody is probably gonna win. Best Actress, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gasson for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for the Substance, Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. I want Fernanda to win so badly. I really hope she wins. I really hope she wins. And I think she might win, but if she doesn't, I think it's gonna be Demi Moore. Best Director, Sean Baker for Honora, Brady Colbert for The Brutalist, James Mangold, A Complete Unknown, Jacques Diard for Amelia Perez, and Coralie Fargy for The Substance. I don't know if I'm saying any of their last names correctly. I'm so sorry if it's incorrect. I think for director, I think The Substance is gonna win. And I hope The Substance wins. If not, which has Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. I so badly want to see I'm Still Here win this for Best Picture. I do. I really do. And I'm gonna root for it until the end. I'm Still Here is gonna be my pick, but if that does not win, I have a feeling The Substance or The Brutalist. Those have been the two front runners for a lot of the awards. So I think if I'm Still Here doesn't win, it's gonna be those two. But I'm hoping it's I'm Still Here because that movie was so good. So good. Anyways, that is it. Those are my tier rankings and those are my predictions for the Oscars. I will be watching on Sunday, so we can talk about in the comments if I'm right or wrong. So yeah, we could go from there, but that is it, guys. Let me know if you guys have seen any of the Oscar movies, if you like them, didn't like them. What are some of your favorites? What are some of the ones that you would rank as like your top 5, 10, stuff like that? And yeah, would love to talk about it in the comments. And that is it. I will see you guys next time. Bye.